I think when you're brand new with beekeeping, you don't know what's going to hurt the bees and what's not going to hurt the bees. I look back now at some of the questions the newer people ask for beekeeping. Well, should I do this? Yeah, just do it. See what happens.
Yeah.
But when you're new, you don't know if it's going to cause an issue. So you don't want to do anything that's going to cause harm to the bees.
They're actually saying, I don't want to hurt my bees. I don't want to lose my bees. We were both that way
Oh, yeah,
when we
I
first
was.
started.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before, I wouldn't test for mites if I couldn't find the queen.
Yeah.
And now I look at the frame, I shake them into a tub, I look again for the queen, and if I don't see her, I test.
Yeah.
If I screw up, I screw up.
Look, we're all going to blow it the first year. There's no way you can know. You can read all the books, watch all my videos, but until you get your hands in there and start realizing, uh-oh, what is that? It's different.
Sure.
And so I think after 3 years, you kind of collect this vast amount of knowledge and data of what worked and what didn't work. It's not that I sat and read a whole bunch of scientific studies. I do that, but I didn't get my knowledge that way. I got my knowledge by hard knocks. Like,
sure.
Boy, I made a mistake on that hive.
Yep.
My early years of beekeeping, I just kept keeping a lot of notes and making these, even in my, if it wasn't a written note, it was a memory note of like, oh, this is what bees do when you do this to them, or when you see this in bees, that's what the next thing's going to do.
Yep.
This is going to happen next if I see that. And so anybody can do that.
All of my hives, I have a log for. I keep track of everything. When I treat for mites, when I test for mites, when they have a queen, when they go queenless, all that stuff. I keep track of everything.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And that should be encouraging, I think, Patrick, that anybody can beekeep if you're willing to put the time in and learn, and like we say, be inquisitive. And let's face it, it's hard work.
I agree.
It is not fun being out there on a hot day, treating your bees or taking supers off.
I know.
Battling small hive beetle.
You got the suit on, you got the mask
Respirator.
on for the OA vapor.
Oh, wow.
Yep, you can't see because sweat's running down your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
The last time, I think, maybe not last time, but 2 times ago, I was OA and vaporizing my hives. I had my mask on, and I sweated so much. I felt like the water in my mask was filling up. Like I was just like treading water of sweat. It was like I'd have to open it and drain it. But again, we do this because we enjoy hard work.
Right.
We have something we want to accomplish. We know it helps the bees to kill the mites. So we're willing to put the time in. Back by popular demand, I've got Patrick today. Hello, Patrick.
Hi, David.
Good to see your friend. And we've got a list of your questions. All of you are continuing to ask us a lot of questions. And so we're looking forward to tackling your questions today. We have a lot of pages, Patrick. Are you ready?
Sure. I hear if you get American foul brood, you must burn everything and bury the ashes at least 6 feet deep.
6 feet?
That's what it says.
Okay. 6 feet is excessive. Pat and I really actually looked it up on in Illinois, and it says for us here in Illinois, every apiary inspection can be different, probably state to state. But here it says you dig an 18-inch pit and you burn everything, bees, boxes, everything. And then after you burn it to ashes, you cover it with 6 inches of dirt. That's just to make sure that it doesn't spread. But 6 feet is like a grave. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be deep. That would take a long time to dig a 6 foot hole. Yeah. Maybe they meant 6 inches.
Probably.
Okay.
Both Amino Bee Booster and Honeybee Healthy says not to use with supers on. Any thoughts on this?
They do both say that. Yeah, because I don't like to ever feed my bees if I'm going to harvest honey and use it for myself or sell it to others. So anytime you're feeding bees, I don't like to give them sugar water or any additives anytime you have supers on. So that's correct.
This is from Philip. Did the queen slow down laying this time of year?
The queen may slow down, but it's only because there's less resources, there's less activities that bees can do to keep her plump, to keep a lot of eggs being produced in the queen. So if they don't have a lot of resources coming in the front door and they know there's a dearth going on, they may back off and not feed her as much because they know they're in a dearth. Yeah. That's why I like to feed my bees in the fall, to kind of keep the queen laying. Get some more bees of winter physiology.
This is from Donna. David, have you heard of some beekeepers using Zentari to help with keeping frames free of wax moths during storage months? Love your teachings, and hope to see you in Waco in November.
Waco in November. Looking forward to being there at the Texas State Bee Conference. Yeah, this Zentari is it is a treatment for like caterpillar larvae, I think, and you can buy that at different hardware stores or Lowe's and Menards. It's not labeled for beekeeping. It's not labeled for the wax moth. So you better stick with what's for beekeeping. That's BT 402 or Sertan. That would be the best bet. That's going to have more of an effect on bees. It's designed for the wax moths that come into a beehive when a hive gets really weak. But you only apply that, like they said, on stored frames. You don't put it in a hive with bees in it. Yeah.
This is from Bobby. Where did you get the magnifier you talked about last week?
Oh, I was going to bring it out here and show people, but I'll leave a little image of it right here. I actually bought it from Amazon, and it works really good on my cell phone. It kind of has an app, and you just link it to your app on the phone, and you can use your phone as the screen, and then you use a little, it's actually a microscope more than a magnifying glass, a digital microscope. Boy, I think I only paid $30 too. And it really zooms in nicely. I've been looking at some mites and things, and yeah, it's worth the investment to see up close on bees and look at mites and all.
So you could take a screenshot then if it was on your phone?
Yeah, and it takes videos too.
You
can take videos of whatever you're looking at. It's really nice. For the money, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
This is from Gary. If you are combining a weak hive, a weak deep with a strong double deep, wouldn't it be better to put the weak deep on the bottom? The bee should move everything up, then you could remove it.
I get that, and that would be good for what you're wanting to accomplish. What's bad about that is that when you do it, you're actually putting a newspaper on the bottom deep, which is the weak hive, right? And so I'm going to assume that's going to be queenless. And so all the bees up here that have been used to foraging and doing all their stuff, now they can't because there's newspaper there, and it's going to take them a minute. It seemed like it would accelerate the combining too much. The bees would want to eat through it quickly so they can get back out and go foraging again. Where if you do it the other way, these bees above are the ones more or less eating through, and it's more, I think, compatible for them to get acquainted. But either way may work. But do you see what I'm saying, Patrick? You're blocking off all the activity of the upper hive from that newspaper, and they have to rush through. And I'd be a little worried that it might be too much too soon. Yeah, but it might work fine. Who knows? Yeah.
This is from Steve. Do you think planting a large variety of wildflowers will help hive health? Planted 3 acres of clover, and honey was amazing, but want more diversity.
Boy, if you had the land and the time and the money to plant, sure. We know that the more pollen resources you have, the variety of pollen and honey, the better the bees are. But don't think you're just going to put a little patch out. You know, bees are just going to laugh at a small plant or two and fly out to some big amount of nectar somewhere else. So you've got to really invest some time and money into a big plot of land, and to have a variety. But it would help, absolutely. If you had, you know, I've heard if you need about 3 to 5 acres, and then you could really plant. But look for things that bees are really going to be on. A lot of the pollinating programs don't include a lot of flowers made for honeybees. They're made for other pollinators. So do your research and figure that out first.
This is from Mark. Is it okay to feed fermented honey back to the bees?
Oh, you had fermented honey this year.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It's all capped over now. I need to sample it and see how it is.
Yeah, you do. Did it? I heard that some of the fermented honey can actually cause the cappings to bubble up. Is yours smooth?
I haven't noticed.
Oh, okay.
I just pull it out and see it's capped.
Wow.
And I'm busy smacking small hive beetles.
Yeah. And it could be the small hive beetle contributed to that fermenting,
Yeah.
maybe, but we don't know for sure. But is it okay to feed it back to them? It must be. It's in Pat's hive. They brought it in your hive,
Yeah.
or either it fermented once it got there. I wouldn't have any trouble with that. I think I'd be okay with that. Yeah, it wouldn't bother me any. Might make your honey taste a little funny.
It says, hi, David. David here. I can get into hive 1, but hive 2, the queen and her daughters are not having it. How can I test? Just ran Formic Pro last month. That hive had a mite count of 9.
Oh, okay. 9 would be 3%. So out of 100. I get it. So you got a hive that's a little too spicy to get in, do a mite test on. Well, let's ask Patrick. What would you do, Patrick, if you had a hive?
I'd probably do it anyway.
You mean the treatment?
The test.
Oh, you go in there and fight them? Just yeah.
With a fly swatter.
A bee swatter.
No, I'd have all my gear on. I have a full suit.
Yeah.
A triple layer suit.
Yeah.
I'd put gloves on, and the only issue I'd have is if I found the queen. Want to make sure I don't get the queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd still do a test.
Well, that's going to be tough, isn't it? Because you're going to be all suited up. It's going to be hot, and it could be a dearth. It could be robbing. Now, not only do you have to go in there and take a sample, but like you said, you got to make sure you don't have the queen.
Yep.
So that may really extend your time. You either got to find her or be so good at making sure she's not on that sample that you take. Because if she's in the sample, that hive is over. Yeah, you're done. Because it's too late to get a new queen and all.
Yep.
But yeah, I like your courage.
Yeah. I wear a suit.
Yeah.
It's a good suit. It's a triple layer suit.
Okay.
So.
Well, okay, very good. Yeah, because he has 9 or he had 9.
The last one was a 9.
Oh, the last time he tested, yeah. So was that before he used Formic Pro?
I don't know. It said that hive had a mite count of 9.
Yeah. So he needs to go back in there and do a mite test, whether he's treated or not. We got to find out where they're at. So, all right, we're going to have you muscle up, cowboy up, and go in there and get her done. Yeah.
This is from Tony. David, can you speak about overfeeding in the fall, not leaving enough room for the brood?
Yeah, a lot of people take a lot of pride in overwintering little 5-frame mating or little 5-frame nucleuses or a 10-frame deep, only just a single 10-frame deep. And in that case, you're going to have some brood, but there's a lot of food in those boxes too. If you're overwintering a 5-frame nucleus, they're not 5 frames of brood in there. So you got a lot of food and just a little bit of brood. So I wouldn't worry about it. Now, for me personally, I need to have 4 to 6 frames of mostly capped brood in the month of September and October. I want to see that in my hives. That tells me I've got nearly 40,000 bees that are winter physiology bees. That's what I like to do. I like that kind of volume. So, but depending on where people live, you can kind of, make that suit your needs and all. But I'm not worried about bees being overfed in the fall. I've always felt like my hives have a lot of stores in there, and I feed them to support what they're doing right now. They need to take the nectar the syrup that I'm giving them with the additives and use it immediately for raising brood, feeding brood. And so I'm not really worried about that. And sometimes you'll have less brood if they don't have good incoming nectar. That can hurt your brood that way.
This is from Crowbait Outdoors. I got a swarm about 4 weeks ago from a tree limb, and on my way home in my swarm trap, there was a lot of wet bees in the bottom and many died. Do they sweat because they were hot, too hot, or something else?
This is a good question because this happens to a lot of beekeepers in the spring. When beekeepers go and pick up a package or a nucleus, they get home and all their bees are wet. And usually, Patrick, when they get wet like that, most of them die. And what they're doing when bees don't sweat like human sweat, they don't perspire like this, but they actually have a honey crop that has their nectar stored in this honey crop, when they go on a forage flight. So when you pick them out of the swarm trap, when they're in the swarm trap, that swarm, most of their honey crops were pretty filled up. And when they get hot and overheated, the only way that they know to cool themselves is to get rid of that honey crop. So they push out all their nectar that's in the honey crop because it's hot. It's the hottest part right there. A big tub of nectar in the first part of their abdomen that's just hot. So if they get rid of that, it helps them cool off. But when they get rid of it, they don't care where they put it. And they put it on each other. It gets all over their spiracles, and they begin to suffocate and die. So anytime you see wet bees, it is because they overheated and they get rid of all that nectar in their honey crop. And they will die from that. So that's what happens to beekeepers. I hate to admit it, but when I see people, they come here, they pick up packages or nukes, I have to stop them. They sometimes want to wrap them with blankets and pillowcases because they're scared the bees are going to get out and sting them on the way home. So they wrap them they put them in closed up boxes. And my team says, no, you can't do that. And we have some customers that get home with dead bees because it overheated. Sometimes people stop at some restaurant and the car is in the sun, the bees are in the back seat and they overheat and they get all wet and die. Yeah. I'm even a little concerned. I know these bee companies make these like mesh nettings and they're made to, put over a package or a nuke or something like that. Even that concerns me. I mean, I know it's supposed to work and everyone's going to say, I use it all the time, never lost any bees and all. But anytime, like me and you right now, we're kind of enjoying the nice breeze. Right now, if we had a net on, we'd be hotter. Sure. With a net on, right? Yep. Have you ever slept like a camping trip and you got the mosquito netting? It's hot in the mosquito netting. Yeah. It's hot in a netting on. So, yeah, that's what that calls from.
This is from Elizabeth. I have 2 capped queen cells in a weak queenless hive. Is it too late for a queen to mate? Are you still seeing drones? In northeast Kansas.
Okay, yeah. You might be pretty similar to us here in Illinois. Yeah, we see drones. We saw drones today. I have seen them start to kick them out. And so the drone congregation areas are getting thinner, that's for sure. And in that case, I always tell people this late in the year, if you can still buy a mated queen, that's going to be your best bet. Otherwise, she may mate, but not with as many drones as she needs to. She may only lay like into January and may run out of stored sperm. And now you have months and months without any brood. And then you go into spring and she can't pick up the spring pace at all. Yeah.
This is from PJ. Hi, Dave. My bee population is exploding. Should I add a 3rd deep on top at this time of year to avoid a possible swarm? I'm feeding them 1-to-1. I'm in central Kentucky.
Central Kentucky. Things are going good. All that population of bees. You could add a 3rd one. I always say I don't own the corner of all bee knowledge. Who knows what would really work best in your scenario? It's hard to say. Typically, most beekeepers don't go with 3 deeps. That's a lot of deeps for a brood area. I see that you're needing more space so that, your bees don't swarm. One of the things that comes to my mind is if you wanted to, you could actually do a queen brood break. Breaking the brood cycle of the queen will help reduce the mites. And so if you really are having a lot of brood being produced right now and you're thinking about adding a 3rd box, I wouldn't add the 3rd one. I would just start isolating my queen 1 week at a time. A couple of ways you could do it. You could buy a queen cage and just put her in a cage where the bees can, how do I say this? It's put her in a cage, like a Jay's bees cage. The bottom of it has a little bar, plastic bar. If you break that off, the worker bees can go in and out of it. And a lot of people don't know that. I'll try to leave a scene here. But if you break the little bar off, then that's going to allow her to still spread her pheromones a little bit more than if you just isolate her. So you could do that. You could do a push-in queen cage, push it into the comb, and it too has queen excluder distance where worker bees could still go in and out, but the queen's combined to a section of so she can't really keep laying as much. That's going to help reduce your mites. And the 3rd way is to use one of these frame cages. It's a queen excluder material that you put a whole frame into, a deep frame or maybe a medium, but a deep frame. And that way you can isolate your queen to 1 frame and that can reduce the brood. So I think I would reduce the brood right now instead of adding a 3rd deep.
Now, I tried using one of those push-in queen cages last year. The bees ate all of the comb from underneath where the prongs go in, and the queen the pushing cage actually fell out.
I know. People don't realize that bees are aggressive when they want their
They
queen.
want it in there.
They're like, I had the same thing happen to me, Patrick. They actually, it looked like they were dogs trying to dig under a fence.
Mm-hmm.
They just dug underneath the
Yep.
little thing. They pushed it up out of the way. You know, there's a video I made a video a while back where I put sugar water in like a Coke bottle, a screw-on cap, and I only screwed it on like 2 or 3 times. Guess what the bees did?
They got in there.
They unscrewed it.
Yeah.
How? Wow, that's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
This is from Tammy. When does a queen start slowing down? I want to know how to know if she's slowing down because she's failing or she's doing what she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's a combination of both, really. You know, she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, but usually this time of the year and all winter long, she will slow down. It's not that she's deciding to slow down. It's more that the bees are deciding how much to feed her. You know, she's only fed by bees. So if they not wanting a lot of brood, they don't feed her as much and she doesn't lay as much without all the nutrition that she needs to make a lot of eggs. They're controlling that, the bees are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's why, for me personally, I like to feed bees a lot in the fall, like after goldenrod is finished, and I can keep the queen laying more bees in winter physiology. That gives me a bigger hive to stay warmer in the winter. But if I didn't do that, they will not feed her as much and the brood will diminish greatly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But even in winter, she'll lay a little bit to have a little brood in there.
My hives will be shaded through the winter as the sun angle changes here in Colorado. Should I move the hives to a sunnier location?
Ooh, that's my situation. I've got about 10 hives behind this building, and it's always shady back there in the wintertime. Not in the summer, but in the wintertime, because the sun's way down there in the southern part of the hemisphere, and it just doesn't really reach back there. And so I was talking to Patrick this morning. I was like, this might be a good place over here to move them more in the sun. So that's kind of what I'm toying with too. But yeah, if you can move them in the sun, that'd be the thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I've heard wait 2 weeks in the dearth before feeding, so they transition into bees of winter. Also, we can't feed too much. I think I just heard don't make them wait. Please clarify.
Oh yeah. You know, I don't think it's extremely critical. The only reason sometimes I say that I wait 2 weeks is to make sure there's a dearth more than anything. Like I almost jumped the gun a while back and wanted to start feeding my bees, but then the goldenrod kicked in a lot quicker than I thought. So I'm kind of glad I didn't set things up just then. So that's probably my main reason, but I do feel like there's something that triggers the colony to raise diutinous bees of winter physiology. That trigger could be a loss of daylight. It could be a loss of nectar. And so if I can let them know there's a loss of nectar coming in, then they might jump into a mode where they're going to raise bees of winter physiology. It's more anecdotal on my part than scientifically studied that I know of. So I'm just doing it to help my bees get ready to start raising bees. Yeah. So if they're another way of saying it is if they're raising bees of winter physiology, and if that's what they want to do, I support it by feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is from Jeff. David, is it better to keep a hive tight on space or give too much space going into winter? Are too many frames for the population a bad thing?
Yes, they are. Tight is better. Just like if, Patrick and I were going to overwinter just in a cardboard box.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is going bad quick. And we would want a really tight cardboard box because we're going to use each other's heat.
You're going to need a new camera, man.
Yeah, I am. But you get the idea. The tighter the space, the heat is going to be better utilized. If it's a big space, the heat's going to be lost. And so, yeah, tighter is better.
Uh-huh. This is from Arjun. I am in the Seattle area. I see some of my bees coming back with some gray white stuff on their thorax. Is this normal or a disease?
Oh, that's interesting. Is that normal or disease? So, Patrick, a while back, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, somebody sent me a picture and thought they had a disease because they said my bees are bleeding blood. And I was like, send me a picture. So they had, you know, blood red thoraxes. Well, bees don't have red blood. And so I knew immediately that was pollen. You see it in their back legs as well. And so that is pollen that you're seeing that's on the hairs of the thorax. Yeah, there's no reason a disease would occur there on the hardness of a thorax. That's pollen grains. That's cool.
This is from Sunshine.
Hey, Sunshine.
We did newspaper method to combine the strong queenless hive and a small queen right nuke. How many days should I wait to check on them?
Oh, yeah. Well, we found that it doesn't take long at all for them to eat through that newspaper. That newspaper's gone in a day, really. So I'd wait maybe, you know, your typical 3 to 4 days if you wanted to, just to let them get used to each other before you upset them again. Yeah, a week would be a good ballpark figure.
This is from Dwight. Can you winter with more than one honey super?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's back to our previous question though. The more supers you have stacked on the hive, the more space there is. So if the bees are clustering in your bottom 2 deeps and you have 3 more supers up there, that would be over 18 inches of space that bees won't be in, that the heat will be in. Heat rises. It's a balance there, you know. Boy, Patrick, you didn't get to answer any, did you?
I'd have messed it up anyway.
So, Patrick, I thought it'd be good at the end of the questions that we could have a little coffee time, talk about life, because you and I are both the same age. We were both raised kind of like in the same era, I guess. And we've talked about this before, and I thought our listeners would enjoy this, but both of us were raised to be hard workers. Both of us have raised children, and I've always taught my children that if you really want to succeed in life, you got to work hard. You know, I get it today that sometimes big companies may not care if you work hard or not, and they may not promote you as much or something nowadays. I hear that. But, you know, boy, when I was starting out young, it's a young married man with a family and all, every place I worked, I tried to give it my best.
Sure.
I think it's rewarding to work hard.
I agree.
I really get a lot of pleasure out of working hard and then stepping back and seeing what I accomplished. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just who I am. You know, if I'm building something, if I'm making something and I put a lot of energy and work into it and thinking, I back up and go, wow, that paid off. That really looks good.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah, you've been remodeling your kitchen.
That's funny, because I actually took pictures of the drain pipes that I had to redo.
Oh, yeah.
I had to redo everything under the sink, and
yeah,
it looks good.
Because they're off a little bit in space and all.
Yeah, the new sink was different than
Never
the old
aligns,
sink, and
I
had to cut things and
I
change
know.
things, and
I know.
it turned out beautiful.
Yeah, it did.
And most people could care less.
Yeah.
But I know.
Yeah. Now, you were an electrician most of your life, right?
Yep.
So did you ever run conduit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, conduit is amazing because I think it can look beautiful. Like if you have 10 or 12 conduit lines that are just...
Oh, I can't do that.
Oh, you can't do that?
No, not make it look nice. My younger son is a union electrician.
Oh, yeah.
And he had pictures of some conduit runs that he's done, and it's beautiful.
It's
like
art.
a work of art.
It
I was just gonna
is.
say
It's
that.
art.
Yeah.
My dad did that. I would help my dad, when he was doing that kind of work. And he never used any measurements or anything. He eyeballed everything, Patrick.
Yeah.
And it would just be like 6 home run lines just beautifully curving perfectly the same, even though they're not the same because this one's a little bit bigger,
Right.
It's like, I don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
He could visualize it, and he was an artist when it came to conduit.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's great. But yeah, hard work, I think I think we're just created to work hard. I'm not sure if we're created not to work hard, but at the same time, I would just encourage people today to realize that if you want to achieve something, it's going to take hard work.
Yep.
I don't know any other way.
Physical and mental.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There are times I wish there was a different way to do it. Like I've got some projects I need to do with our septic system, and I don't want to do that. Number one, obviously it smells. Number two, it's filthy and dirty. But a pump motor went out, and I'm either going to have it replaced by somebody else or do it myself. But I think there are times when maybe as we get older, you and I don't like doing some of the things we used to do.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, yeah. Do you change your own oil?
No, I used to. I haven't lately.
Me neither.
I'm old and lazy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And it's not that expensive if you go to a quick little place.
No.
You know? Yeah.
But I don't feel like climbing under the truck or
Yeah.
the car, and
Yeah.
then you have to dispose of the oil.
I know. That's the worst part of it.
I try and do all that the right way.
Not pour it against the fence rows.
Pour it out on the alley.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that's what they did.
You can't say that on YouTube.
You can't say that. Put it on there anyway.
I will. No.
But that's what,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they used to put it down the long gravel lane.
Absolutely.
They
To
just-
settle the dust, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, I live in a little town. They have chip and
Tar and chip. Yeah.
But they'll do that on the road. They put oil on the road.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible in it. But yeah. When I was younger, I worked on my own cars
Mm-hmm.
because I just had old junkers as a young married man and needed them to get back and forth to work.
Yep.
And sometimes I stayed up all night long. I remember one night I stayed up all night long changing a timing belt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to take the whole front of the engine
Yep.
apart and then line it all correctly just so I could get to work in the morning.
That's
you know?
funny.
I know.
Yep.
And I remember thinking one time I was underneath the car, and a lot of people don't realize this if you're younger, but back then we did a lot of our own car work, and I would change my mufflers.
Mm-hmm.
And back then they rusted
Yep.
so badly. Now
Mhm.
they're stainless steel, they never
Yeah.
rust, but I would be under there and I wasn't smart enough to wear goggles.
Yeah.
I'm underneath there and the whole thing is crumbling in my face. I'm trying to get the muffler off to put a new one on. That's
Mhm.
crazy. That's hard work, isn't it?
Yep. When my kids both turned 16, we got older cars that needed work,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't work on them unless they were there helping.
Yeah.
I figure that way they'll at least learn. They have to make enough money to hire somebody else to do it
Yeah.
if they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But both kids, we did that. I have two boys,
Yeah.
but they learned a little.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
So.
great. And life skills are so important, aren't they?
Mhm.
Learning life skills. It was funny. My engine on my mower went bad the other day, and Patrick came to film. And one of the things I thought was interesting, you immediately said, "Have you tried this? Have you tried that?" And before long, you're on your back on the gravel looking underneath my mower. It's so instinctive to do that.
Sure.
For people like us,
Yeah.
isn't it? I'll help you fix it.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to get
We figured
dirty.
it out,
I know.
and then we're paying somebody else, or you're paying somebody else to fix it.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? My dad, after he got a little better off where he worked, he actually went from being an electrician to a plant manager to a vice president. And when he was a vice president, in a plant, he still couldn't stay out of working out there. You know what I mean? My mom would get so mad at him because they'd have a problem out on the line, and for long he'd be out there. He'd take his suit jacket off, but he'd toast a shirt
Yep.
with hydraulic oil.
Sure.
He'd come home, my mom would say, "You ruined another good shirt
Yep.
with this hydraulic oil." Well, I had to fix something. I had to crawl underneath there,
Yep.
And I just watched my dad. He didn't hate hard work. I mean, he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He looked like the kind of guy that wasn't happy unless he was fixing something,
Mhm.
unless he was building something. I saw my dad sitting at the kitchen table, sometimes just sketching out where we were going to pour some concrete on the sidewalk by the house. He knew how much he wanted the mixture to be, right?
Yeah.
My dad was the guy that was out there when the concrete showed up. He would do his little test. He would test how wet it was or dry it was.
Mhm.
Oh, it needs more water. You
Yeah.
know, he'd tell them how to do it.
Mhm. Yep.
It's so cool to see people that have a vast knowledge of information that they enjoy just tinkering with things like that.
Yep.
It's fun. I think tinkering is one of the things that I enjoy the most because sometimes I get involved in tinkering on things I'm fixing, and before long I'm making something I didn't even think I was going to make,
Yeah.
or doing a project that I didn't expect to do. But I wonder what we can do today to encourage people to not be afraid of hard work.
Be inquisitive.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
You got to learn. You got to want to learn.
Yeah, that really applies to beekeeping, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To be inquisitive, to have a curiosity about bees. I think it boils down to that. And you've done well in life being a hard worker.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've got it pretty good.
You do.
I have two sons. They both turned out great.
Yeah.
My wife is pretty good.
I'll definitely cut that out.
I didn't know what to say.
She won't watch it this long.
Yeah, she will. She'll watch it. But
You have a great
she's great.
wife.
Yeah, we get along so well.
You do.
Yep.
How anybody can put up with you?
Yeah.
And I say that endearingly, that you are a jokester. Wow. And
A little of me can go a long way sometimes.
I know what I can say to you now, and you like it. You like
yeah.
me to tease you, and also I've actually deleted a few of scenes of us interacting because the way we tease each other, I thought people that don't know that we get along really well, they could be like, "Wow, David was hard on Patrick," but we just tease each other that way.
It takes a lot to offend me.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
I think it has to do with the intent.
that's true.
If somebody is trying to do harm or be mean, that's different than just joking around. They can say anything they want joking around.
Yeah. Yeah. And the idea and the fact that we like each other, we know that our intent's good.
Yeah.
We're just trying to add humor to the situation, you know. So we're like joking around and And it is funny. We make, people don't know this, but we make a lot of mistakes filming. You know, I make mistakes.
Well, you do.
I know. I make mistakes in what I say. Sometimes I'm starting to open the wrong hive, and you say, "I thought you were going to open that one." Oh yeah, I'm at the wrong place. You know, you've made a few camera mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Microphone mistakes. We just make mistakes, right? And it's fun. We tease each other when we make those mistakes. Oh shoot! But I think the thing about beekeepers making mistakes is that I like what you say. You just gotta, I don't know if you said it this way, but you gotta kind of laugh at yourself.
Oh yeah, I laugh at myself all the time. It's no big deal.
It's not, is it?
No.
You know, you're doing the best you can with bees. All right, so you messed up. I learned something. Now I know what not to do next time. Kind of keep going. So I think some people are just have too much anxiety with messing things up on their bees.
Yep, I agree.
Just gotta enjoy it, learn, but definitely have curiosity and be a hard worker.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Patrick. Good coffee time.
Always fun.
Yeah. If you want to see a video where I take you all the way through the process of taking frames out of a hive, harvesting, extracting, and bottling them, this is a great video. I'll see you guys over here.